Election Day is November 5th, and we're sitting down with Norwalk's candidates for Common Council and Board of Education, and we're asking them for their qualifications, their opinions, and their visions for Norwalk. The last 2 years, what do you think you've accomplished in the council? What sort of qualities do you think you've brought to the council?
Well, from the interaction with other council members, I think first at this stage of the game is that we started off a very tenacious, actually the very first meeting of the city council was very tenacious, which is not normally the way we do things. And I think things were getting a little mean-spirited. I think some things were being said that were focused on individuals rather than the substance of the subject. So being elected council president, I vowed that we're going to try and bring a little peace to the family, as they would say, and start focusing on the issues. Now, whether that happened indirectly or directly because of my taking the council president, I won't say, but things have calmed down. It seems that we focused on particular issues.
When it comes to, let's first talk about some broader priorities. Just in the next 2 years, what are some of the things that you think the city should focus on? What would you like to try to prioritize?
Well, we still need to work on our contracts. I mean, to build on, we've started with most of our contracts and settling our contracts with city employees. On a few of them, we've closed the old-style pension plans and moved them more on self-directed plans. We have had to ask them for more contributions to their medical benefits and change the medical benefits for retirees. Those kind of fiscal moves, along with like we privatized the garbage collection to save city money, and by doing that, we wound up increasing our recycling efforts, doubling them. That those kind of moves in the future need to be constantly addressed. Of a little innovation, getting everybody and city employees not working together to get ideas that help reduce the tax burden on and the cost of running the city. As far as development goes, fortunately we have good solid 4 projects under construction. We have several ready to start construction. I think the city now is going to have to start looking at how, once these places are built, then how best to service them and getting those kind of individuals spread out to other city attractions, how to make it a more walkable city to look at, and how do we keep attracting business to the city. I think it's one of the best kept secrets that Norwalk is growing where other communities are stagnant. I know sometimes we get compared to Stanford, but to be honest with you, I never want to be a Stanford. As long as I'm a representative, Stanford is what it is. Norwalk, I think, has a great ability being a small city that doesn't overwhelm you, that is friendly, is a real balanced city in the sense of its development because we have the core center being all your industrial, residential, heavy residential impact, spreading out to quarter-acre zoning, half-acre zoning, and acre zoning, so you have a great income level. And you get to the Merit 7s of the world, complex with like office buildings. I think as long as we keep attracting companies that way to come in, it's good. Big box stores, I know it's an issue, but as far as I'm concerned, big box stores also offer good entry-level jobs for a lot of people because Norwalk's a diverse community. We have people that are just above the poverty line to people that make millions, and I think that helps the city as a whole be vibrant because a lot of these people with the incomes, and that's the ones we need to get more involved in our community for our nonprofit agencies.
Sure. In terms of budget priorities, for you, where should the city's biggest priorities, strictly concerning the budget, where should those priorities be?
Well, education always falls to be number one. Yeah. The challenging aspect of trying to fully fund consistently year after year the Board of Education is the lack of state contribution to our budget. On a $164 million budget, the state's coming about $13 million, which is too much of a small percentage considering that about 50% of our kids are on subsidized lunch programs. If I'm reelected, I'm going to join very loudly with Dr. Rivera on his call that we need to get our ECS, that educational funding formula, changed so Norwalk can get more funding. I mean, that is an A, because without it, this city will continue to struggle to balance without making taxes so exorbitant and then trying to get its education fully funded. That is the first priority. From a physical side, I think infrastructure, though it's not very sexy topic, is key to making sure that everything that we have works, and that's from our roads to our bridges, as we can see that it works. Because that also presents an image to other people entering our community. If our roads are in terrible shape, people say, "Nah, the town's not so good." And the third part is, hopefully, the Globe Theater will take off. I backed the funding for that with CDBG grant money. I mean, if we got a core that needs a little bit of a push, it's right there in the center of Wall Street. But I think once West Avenue is up and running and occupied, I think you're going to see a spur of development to keep working down. And it's working with developers.
The relationship between the council and its mayor. In your opinion, what should that relationship be?
Well, it's a check and balance. That's why we're there. Norwalk's kind of unique in a lot of aspects the way it's set up, because you have a pretty powerful Board of Estimate and Taxation the way it's set up. And that was due to consolidation. You took 3 communities and tried to make it one, and everybody had to give and take. But in the same token, it's collaboration. I mean, without communication between the mayor and the department heads, that you can't get projects that the mayor want or the council may want together to move them forward. I think with any mayor, and I've served under 4, 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, I've always been treated as a councilperson fairly, and I think that's part of it, that everybody gets kind of treated equal. Party politics, local level, to me, should not enter. I'm a believer this is the community I got represented, or the whole community, not just the Republican community or the Democratic or the unaffiliated. And in doing so, that I have to put all that stuff to the side and say, okay, long-term, short-term, what's the benefit of the city of Norwalk, and trying to keep the mayor on task. And I think when you're talking about roads, you're talking about schools, you're talking about garbage, you're talking about all, the streets are clean, snow removal. That's local stuff. It's the most important stuff to me.
Sure.
And I think it gets missed by a lot of people who don't get involved. But without a working relationship with the mayor, as a council person, you're kind of dead-ending your effectiveness. Because people just have to imagine that I'm going to call you all kinds of bad names, the mayor a bad name or something like that, and I'm going to talk about this and that, and like, okay, so what kind of cooperation you're going to get if you've got a project that's important you think to your community you represent. So I've never had an issue with my relationships with the mayors.